Hello, my name is Danica and I live in British Columbia. I am currently in grade 11 and I am extremely interested in politics. Recently, I traveled on my own to the NDP convention in Toronto and to Forum for Young Canadians in Ottawa to add to my political experiences.
So lots of you are probably wondering how I even got onto this trip. I applied for something called Forum for Young Canadians, and when I got accepted to that, I decided to go to Montreal before, relaxing part of the journey. Then when I found out that the NDP convention was slotted right in between, I thought, let's go for it. I signed up, got my membership with the NDP, and then I found out about the youth summit that Free the Children was putting on, and then I came home. When I got to the convention, I didn't know what I was going to. Totally lost. Got my little NDP membership thing. And there's people mulling about and everything, and I don't know what's happening. And then I went down to the actual convention. Whoa. I had shown up in like high heels, suit type clothes. Everyone was just rocking out orange colors, screaming, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I got to hear all the other speeches, and different people had people singing for them and really interesting tactics. And then I was able to vote for the first time, Nathan Cullen. But when it all comes down to it, we were all NDP, and I think that was something that a lot of people found really interesting, was that everybody there was like, no matter who wins, we're all NDP and we're all in this together, and we all want to defeat Stephen Harper. So there's a lot of high energy. There's this amazing tribute to Jack Layton. Ta-da! The next morning was my birthday and I turned 17. I ended up going back to the convention center and hanging out with this guy that I met. We voted and we went to the CN Tower. I was really worried that I'd be afraid because there was a glass floor. It was actually not scary at all. And I had met someone named Diane. We ended up chasing after Nathan Cullen and trying to get a picture with him, which was really quite cool. In the end, Thomas Mulcair won, which probably everyone knows by now, I would assume. It was just all up here and it was like, ah! This is crazy! So after the winner was announced, we went to the Sheraton Hotel, and the party was interesting. There was some music and talking and everything, but I went home and got locked outside. I ended up getting stuck outside, unable to unlock the door from 12:30 to 1 in the morning. Yay! That wasn't fun. And then so the next day, I went by train to Ottawa. When I was at Forum for Young Canadians, we did a walk around of Ottawa. We got to see Parliament Hill and just different places. I don't know, we kind of all met. There's 144 of us, which they said was one of the biggest groups they've ever had. There were people from every single province and territory in Canada. We were divided up into 12 groups. So we did a lot of election simulations, cabinet simulations, and committee simulations as far as policy making. In each group, we basically figured out a party and a platform, and we had a famous Canadian as our leader. So we had David Suzuki. I got to impersonate him. The person that got elected was Craig Kielburger from the Young People's Party. On Monday, we went to the Governor General's house, and he was actually home when we were there. Everything inside was just really beautiful. We weren't allowed to take pictures, but there are pictures online. So on Tuesday, we also went on a tour of Parliament, and we got to go to the Senate and the House of Commons. The architecture and the design in every single nook and cranny is just so beautiful. We ended up going to the library, and it was the first time that the entire group was complete silent. And we just didn't talk. We just didn't talk until we left. On Wednesday, we had 3 MPs come in and talk with us, and they gave us advice and answered our questions. And we'd also been at presentations for animal welfare. When we heard from Justice St. Clair about First Nations, I found that was really powerful and emotional. It was really quite amusing because I had my orange scarf and the police pulled me over because there was some protests going on, lots of people wearing orange. They just told me I blended in. And then when I went into question period, they took my scarf away. I was able to get it back, but I thought it was quite amusing. We also had a big fancy MP dinner at the Chateau Laurier, a very, very fancy hotel. As someone pointed out halfway through dinner, we were in the same building as Justin Beiber, but none of us cared, because we all wanted to talk to politicians. My MP, Alex Adamanenko, was there. I worked for a week at his office. So on Thursday it was our last day, and we had a breakfast with senators. We were able to choose a priority workshop. I chose environment because that's really important to me. We ended up writing a speech and presenting it to everyone. When all the people that were giving the speeches got together, environment actually came up as one of the most important issues. The most important issues were environment, education, and employment, and the final speech that was written about those three is actually going to be given to the MPs. And then we also got to choose a museum to visit on Thursday. There was either the War Museum or the Civilizations Museum, which was actually in Quebec and Gatineau. The people that I met are going to stay with me for the rest of my life. We got along so well and had so many great conversations that it was It was truly remarkable. There was a lot of Quebecois people. It was actually one of the first times that it made me want to learn French. It was an experience of a lifetime. So on Friday, I went back to Toronto. I was in Toronto to go to a youth summit that Free the Children was putting on. It wasn't quite what I expected. I expected a lot more, I guess, but I think it's because I've done so much already that I already knew a lot of the information in some of the workshops. I'd already done them at different things, but of course, everything adds to, your knowledge and just, I guess, solidifies things up here.
But overall, I had a wonderful trip. This experience was truly enjoyable and beneficial in assisting me with my future endeavors. Now I want to thank all of my sponsors, the village councils, school, PAC, and building supplies especially. Without your support, this trip would not have been possible. I've met wonderful people, I've learned a lot, and I have gained an even deeper passion into politics.